Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, and this is our 11 a.m. community briefing. I'm Lillian Govis, Director of Communications and Public Engagement for Buncombe County. Before we get started, I do want to give folks an update about accessing all of this critical information online. We have modified the Buncombe County website to ensure that folks who have limited bandwidth can access this. All of this disaster-related content is easy to load and can be accessed on devices with limited bandwidth and connection. BuncombeCounty.org and BuncombeReady.org are now simple text pages with 5 different clickable buttons directing to information about water, emergency numbers, disaster assistance, and more. The full website is still available and accessible through this page. There's a language toggle at the top right corner that you can use to translate this page into many different languages. Next, we will start off with City of Asheville Mayor Esther Manheimer.
Thank you. Good morning. First, please know that city, county, state, federal, and all responders and volunteers are working tirelessly for you and our community, beginning the monumental task of not only immediately recovering from this crisis and beginning the rebuilding effort. In partnership with FEMA, we are aware that some are experiencing denials of their FEMA claims. We have already started working to analyze the issue. We will be meeting with our FEMA representatives here in Asheville and Buncombe County later today to discuss the number of denials and to secure a solution and get one in place as fast as possible. We will have more information about this tomorrow. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from County Manager Avril Pinder. We have a number of folks on today's update, including the County Manager, Elections Director, School Superintendents, Asheville Police Chief, Asheville Assistant Manager Ben Woody, and we also have an update on Urban Search and Rescue. So all of that will be coming today. Will be lengthy, but we have a lot of really pertinent information for you. Thanks. Here's Avril.
Thanks, Lillian. Good morning. We are working with the Fire Department of New York to get comfort centers established, and we'll have those locations this afternoon. We know these are critical to our community, and our community needs them as soon as possible. There are a number of logistics to be shored up, so we can be certain these needs are met and they meet our community needs while being safe, clean, and warm. We will use as many of our platforms to announce the opening of these centers as soon as possible. Temperatures in the area will soon begin to dip into the 30s. If you want to donate to Helene survivors, please consider donations of new or gently used coats, blankets, gloves, mittens, hand warmers, and other cold weather items at our donation drop-off sites. Locations for donations include 1298 Patton Avenue in West Asheville, Arden Presbyterian Church at 2215 Hendersonville Road in Asheville, Harrah's Cherokee Center at 87 Haywood Street. Please come to the front door between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. 7 days a week. Again, those sites are 1298 Patton Avenue in West Asheville, Arden Presbyterian Church at 2215 Hendersonville Road, Harrah's Cherokee Center at 87 Haywood Street, and for Harrah's, please come to the front door between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The donation site at 6 Commerce Way in Arden is not currently taking cold weather related donations. So please use the drop-offs that we mentioned at the other 3 sites. We've had questions online from kind-hearted individuals who want to mail donations. Unfortunately, we cannot accept mailed items at this time. If you can make monetary donations, if you're able to, please go to HeleneDonations@buncombecounty.org. We want to clarify that burning is never allowed in city limits. So a burning update for you is never burn in city limits. If you have debris and you want to burn debris outside of the city limits, please only burn debris that is on your property and that is made of natural materials. Our fire chiefs have requested that you do not remove debris along the rivers, the streams, or public areas until it has been searched by the crews. The EPA and Department of Environmental Quality will be working on these areas. Moving to trash and trash collection. A reminder that Waste Pro is trying to run their normal Wednesday route in the Swananoa area. You can also drop bagged household trash off at their trucks. Their trucks are located today at Bell Elementary or the Owen Pool until 4:30 today only. After today, these trucks will move on and will not be available at these sites. Again, the sites you can do drop off bag household in the Swananoa area is Bell Elementary and Owen Pool, and that is until 4:30 today. Please do not drop your trash if there's no truck. For Thursday, October 10th, Wasteboro will run their normal routes for household trash to areas that are accessible for their large trucks in Arden and Fairview. Thursday only, Wasteboro will also have trucks located at the Ingalls on Charlotte Highway and Glenarden Elementary School for residents who can access and bring their household bag trash only. Again, household bag trash only. The hours for the drop-off will be 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 again. And once again, please do not drop off trash if there's no truck there. The 2 sites that you can drop your trash off in the Arden area is the Ingalls in Fairview at 225 Charlotte Highway and Glenarden Elementary at 15 Pinehurst Circle in Arden. The transfer station at 190 Hominy Creek Road in Asheville is open for residential bag trash only. At this time, there will be no charge for Buncombe residents who bring bag trash to the transfer station. The bag trash fee is waived temporarily until we are able to get payment processing equipment fully restored. Again, that is for residential bag trash at 190 Hominy Creek Road, the transfer station, and the fee is waived temporarily. No commercial vehicles are allowed to dump at the transfer station at this time. We will provide an update as we work to restore the full function of the transfer station. Commercial and large vehicles should use the Buncombe County landfill at 85 Panther Branch Road in Alexander. Please use caution on the access road to the transfer station, as Hominy Creek Road still has dirt and silt along the edges of the roadway. Hours of operation for the transfer station are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30, and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1. Again, transfer hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Transfer station is for residential bag drop-off only. Mountain Mobility update. Mountain Mobility continued dialysis, chemotherapy, or other life-sustaining medical transportation. They are resuming the non-emergency medical trips. They are continuing dialysis, chemotherapy, and other life-sustaining medical treatments. They are resuming non-emergency medical trips. They also resuming ADA complimentary paratransit services, and as able, they're resuming the Anchor County Trailblazer service. Let me repeat the Mountain Mobility update. They continue dialysis, they're in continued chemotherapy or other life-sustaining medical treatment transportation. They are resuming the non-emergency medical trips. They're resuming ADA complimentary paratransit service, and as they're able to do that, and they're resuming Anchor Candler Trailblazer service. The United States Postal Service has temporarily suspended retail and delivery operations for some postal facilities throughout Western North Carolina until further notice. For offices that are experiencing a temporary closure, the Postal Service is making contingency plans to conduct retail and delivery operations from a nearby facility. These include Postal Service operations in Alexander at 2350 Old Marshall Highway. Those services have moved to Weaverville at 270 North Main Street. Customers can also call 1-800-ASK-USPS. That is 1-800-ASK-USPS with questions about facilities and deliveries. United Parcel Service, UPS, is delivering to locations deemed safe. If roads are not clear, customers can pick up items at UPS at 301 Sweeten Creek Industrial Park Drive in Asheville. That is 301 Sweeten Creek Industrial Park Drive in Asheville. We have received questions about concealed carry permits since the city/county Bureau of ID has been closed. For customers who had scheduled appointments, we have been actively reaching out via the provided email and or phone number to advise on the process to reschedule. Current concealed handgun permit holders have a limited grace period for renewal if they are due to expire. We look forward to opening when the recovery process allows. As more folks get power and water, and with the weather so beautiful that it is right now, we know you want to get out to our parks and libraries. These remain closed. We have redirected our staff to work the emergency response. And as much as we would like to have these open for you, we must remain focused on supporting our community through this crisis. With that, I'll turn it over to Corrine Duncan, Board of Elections.
Thank you, Avril. Good morning. I'm Corrine Duncan, the Director of Elections for Buncombe County, and I'm here to give you some important updates on voting. Number one, we have an early voting plan. Yesterday afternoon, our bipartisan board unanimously passed a plan for 10 early voting locations with the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, including weekends through the last Saturday at 3 p.m. This begins Thursday, October 17th, that's next Thursday, and runs through Saturday, November 2nd. You can vote at any of these locations that are convenient to you. And those locations are the Black Mountain Library, the East Asheville Library, Anchor Candler Library, Fairview Library, the Lester Community Center, South Buncombe Library, the UNCA Health and Counseling Center on Weaver T. Boulevard, the Weaverville Community Center, Dr. Wesley Grant Southside Center, and the West Asheville Library. We're happy that the majority of these sites will be familiar to you. Most of them were in our original plan, and you have voted at them in the past. We're also grateful for the poll workers who, despite the hardships they're facing, are still committed to providing the right to vote. Of course, some were not able to, as they have evacuated, have damaged homes, lost loved ones, or are emergency personnel themselves. About 2/3 of our original pool of early voting workers were still able to serve. Let's turn briefly to Election Day. We are currently evaluating our resources. In Buncombe County, we usually have 80 voting locations and about 600 poll workers. We're currently working to contact these locations and people to assess availability. We have commitments from around 200 Election Day workers so far and 25 polling locations, which is encouraging. Most of our poll workers are over the age of 70, and we want to keep them safe along with our voters. There's still uncertainty in building and road conditions, in power and water availability, but we'll provide as many election day locations as there are resources for. And we have support from the county and the State Board of Elections for that. We also have a big early voting program, so please use that if you can. And some housekeeping before I close. Our contact information is Election Services at 59 Woodfin Place in Asheville, 28801. Our phone number is 828-250-4200. You can email us at elections@buncombecounty.org, and our website is buncombecounty.org/vote. The registration deadline is this Friday, October 11th. You can get that form online or by visiting us. If you need a photo ID for voting, you can also get that for free at our office. Use the NC Voter Search tool online or stop by for your sample ballot. It's a longer ballot, so it'll help you be prepared if you do that. And lastly, remember that absentee by mail voting is available now. Anyone can request one through the online portal or a paper form, and you can do that by October 29th. The deadline to return your ballot is still Election Day, November 5th by 7:30 p.m. There are a few changes. You can return your ballot by mail, in person, or to our office, or any voting location. So it used to be only early voting. Now you can turn it in temporarily to on Election Day locations. The emergency measures that were issued by the State Board of Election temporarily allows this, as well as the ability to return to another county office. So if you are located in another county and you have your absentee ballot, you can return it to their elections office. Another important thing is that this emergency measure also allows us to issue your ballot over the counter. So if you need that service, stop by our office. Buncombe County Election Services is here for you. You know how to vote absentee. You now have an early voting plan. So get out the word and stay tuned for Election Day updates. Thank you.
Next, we'll be joined by Buncombe County Schools Superintendent, Dr. Rob Jackson.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Rob Jackson, Superintendent of the Buncombe County Schools System. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and would again like to thank our first responders, law enforcement members, utility crews, volunteers, local, state, and federal leaders who are helping in the recovery. Our families and neighbors have suffered incredible loss and trauma. We know that our schools will play a big role in helping our students cope, and we will meet those needs. We're working with school systems across the state to have additional school counselors and school social workers available for our students and staff when we return to school. The weight of this experience will hit hard for our students and staff on those first days as our students are reunited with their classmates. Our schools will provide the support that many will need. Our students need us, and we need our students. Planning continues to safely reopen our schools as quickly as possible. 40 of our 45 schools now have power, and we thank the linemen who continue working around the clock to restore the power to all of our area. As you know, Buncombe County has an additional challenge with the significant damage that the hurricane caused to the Asheville water system. At this time, only 13 of our 45 schools have water. We've met with the State Department of Public Instruction and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services and are expecting guidance on what it will take to safely have students back in our schools with a prolonged water outage. We're also working with our fire marshal on how to protect our schools in the absence of water for our fire sprinkler systems. We're committed to doing everything we can to satisfy those requirements and to get our students, teachers, and staff back in school as soon as possible. We've looked at every viable option we could imagine for the safest and quickest solution to get students back in school. We've looked into sharing buildings that do have power and water looked into partial day schedules and busing students across the county. We've looked at using flush brigades with armies of community volunteers who would help carry non-potable water throughout the day and stay in our schools that use that water to supply and flush our commodes. Our school system has truly tried to come up with any workaround to safely bring our students back. After meeting with state and local officials and with our principals, we believe the best option to safely open our schools as quickly as possible is through bringing in portable restroom trailers with built-in hand washing stations. To open our schools, we need 939 portable toilets and 391 hand washing stations. This comes with a large financial burden, especially in a large school system with 45 schools and 22,000 students. However, we know that the 14,680 students served by the schools that currently do not have water are worth our every effort. We've turned to local, state, and federal emergency management authorities to help. Buncombe County Schools has put in a request to get these portable restroom facilities on our campuses as soon as possible. Another challenge before us is meal preparation. We're pleased that again this year we're offering free breakfast and lunch to all of our students. However, making 44,000 meals a day is challenging without water. Our child nutrition team is prepared for that challenge as well by pivoting and preparing grab-and-go meals that will be used while we're impacted by a lack of water service. There's a lot of work that's happening, and we're doing everything we can to make it happen as quickly and as safely as possible. While I can't give you an exact reopening date today, we hope to be able to do that very soon. We are making progress each and every day. We will give our families and staff as much notice as possible about our reopening date. At a minimum, we'll provide 72 hours notice to help with families that may have temporarily moved away. Part of our work is remapping our county. There are roads that our buses can no longer safely travel across, and so we're having to redo bus routes across our very large county to ensure that we can safely transport our students who depend on our buses to arrive and leave school each day. Even without power and water in many locations, all 45 of our public schools have continued to be an invaluable resource to our community, hosting sleep sites for law enforcement and serving as distribution centers for much needed supplies for our beloved community. I've been asked what parents can do to help prepare students to return. Certainly every educator would quickly encourage all to encourage our children to read as much as possible, to take advantage of the little free libraries that are located throughout neighborhoods and in front of schools and in front of public libraries, to encourage students to write, to perhaps write about their experiences or to write about what they're most looking forward to as they return to school and prepare to turn to school. We'd encourage them to spend time in conversation, to be allowed to share in their own words what this experience has meant to them and what they've experienced. Those conversations with parents and loved ones are invaluable in the life of a child. We've been inspired by seeing our families, students, and teachers volunteering in our community. We appreciate the offers from school systems literally across the country to donate to our Buncombe County Schools families. Our recovery effort will continue to take a community, and we're appreciative of the donors and volunteers from right here at home and across our great country. As I've shared before, our theme in Buncombe County Schools this year is Together We Rise. And throughout this last moment in time in our county, we've seen that. Together we rise. Thank you.
We have Dr. Maggie Furman here with Asheville City Schools. She's the superintendent.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Maggie Furman, Superintendent for Asheville City Schools. Most folks know I've only lived in Asheville for a little over a year, but I feel more at home here in our mountains than anywhere else I've ever lived. I'm so impressed with the resilience and dedication of those in our community, and I still want to share my prayers for those in Western North Carolina that have suffered this unimaginable loss from this tragedy. While the city continues to make progress to the municipal water system, we can't wait until it is fully repaired to open our schools. One of those efforts that we've made in Asheville City Schools is to start drilling wells on our campuses. Yesterday, we did drill a well at Hall Fletcher Elementary School, and we were able to hit groundwater. Well, this is great news. It will still take time for us to be able to use that water. Well water at schools is considered a public water use, and it takes extra steps before we can start using that water in our buildings. We're estimating a range of 2 to 3 weeks before we can take that water from the well to be used in our schools. We do plan on continuing drilling wells at each campus so that regardless of what happens with our water system, we will always have a backup for our Asheville City Schools. Just as Buncombe County, Asheville City Schools continues to explore all these different potentials for opening our schools as soon as possible. As Dr. Jackson mentioned yesterday, he and I met with the Department of Public Instruction and the Department of Public Health Services, and they helped us create a list of must-haves to open schools. And one of those includes either flushing toilets and or porta-johns sufficient for the number of students, along with hand washing stations. We have put in our order for all of those toilet trailers. Even though we don't have a timeline on that yet, I will be sharing that information as soon as we have it. I've targeted October 28th as our date to fully reopen schools for Asheville City School students. We hope that we can do that sooner, but we wanted to give our parents the date that we are working towards. Please know that that date may change depending on all these different factors that we have to consider, but we are hoping that that is much sooner. We will also give a 72-hour notice to all of our families and staff so that we are ready to hit the ground running once we have that date finalized 100% in stone. But we are targeting the 28th, but hopefully we can do that even sooner. We also know that fall is a crucial time for our seniors to submit their college applications. So we're hosting a college admission work session tomorrow, Thursday, October 10th, from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Randolph campus. Seniors can access reliable internet and receive support to complete their Common App, writing essays, and filling out general scholarship applications. Students will also receive a hot meal. We will have counselors, teachers, and social workers on site to support our students. We also do have limited access for our seniors on that location for porta potties. Starting Monday, October 14th, we are launching Bridge Learning for all students in kindergarten through 12th grade at Isaac Dixon Elementary and Hall Fletcher Elementary Schools. This is from 11 to 1 a.m. and coincides with our meal pickup times for students in our community. A group of dedicated teachers, community members, and social workers, counselors, and other staff members have developed engaging and interactive learning experiences for students in all grades. All Asheville City School students are welcome. We will share more information directly with our families in a communication later today. We know that Bridge Learning is meant in no way to meet all the educational, social, and emotional needs of our students. We know that can only be done through fully reopening our schools. We do hope that Bridge Learning provides our students and families with a bit of normalcy and an opportunity for our students to gather, learn, and have fun together while we continue to fully dedicate our time to opening our schools. We know that when we fully reopen our school campuses, we will need to make every second count more than ever before, and we are ready to do that. I want to thank each member of our Cougar crew. In Asheville City Schools, we say that we are crew, not passengers. This means that together we can do more than we ever thought possible. This means that getting up the mountain on our own is not enough. This means that we have to get up the mountain together and that we leave no one behind. Over the last 12 days, I've seen our Cougar crew embody this belief in ways I never imagined possible, from helping staff remove trees from their houses to loading buses full of supplies and delivering them to our most vulnerable families, or even hiking up a mountain to check on a staff member that we were unable to reach over the phone. I'm so proud to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Furman. Next, we'll turn to the city of Asheville for an update, and we have City Manager Deborah Campbell here to provide the first update. She'll be followed by Asheville Police Chief Mike Lamb and then Asheville Assistant City Manager Ben Woody.
Good morning. And as was stated, my name is Deborah Campbell, and I have the privilege to serve as the manager for the city of Asheville. As usual, I want to start today by thanking everyone in the community for your continued support. Our community has come together in a big way. We're making positive strides each day, and I'm confident that we will continue to see even more progress over the coming weeks. Today is day 14 of the emergency response and recovery effort. The city of Asheville continues to focus our attention in these three priority recovery efforts. Addressing the basic needs of our most vulnerable populations and broader community. I'll provide that brief update. And as you heard, Assistant City Manager Ben Woody will provide an update on the water issue, and then community safety. Chief Mike Lamb will provide a very brief update, possibly not in that order that I just gave you. Water and meal distribution. There was a little bit of confusion in our last briefing about the availability of bulk water to flush toilets. Hopefully I'll be able to clarify and clear up that confusion. All food and water distribution locations in the city of Asheville will continue to provide both bulk water for toilet flushing as well as drinking water. Please bring your own containers for bulk water if possible. We have a limited number of containers for filling bulk water. We have additional containers and hopefully some will arrive soon. Each site also has food in the form of meals ready to eat, MREs. The following distribution sites are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're located at Pack Square, 70 Court Plaza, Asheville Middle School, 211 South French Broad Avenue, Linwood, Crump Shiloh Community Center, 121 Shiloh Road, Lucy Herring Elementary, 98 Sulphur Springs Road, Oakley Elementary, 753 Fairview Road. In the last 24 hours, the team at the city's distribution sites have distributed 30,856 bottles of water, 3,816 meals ready to eat, and 14,800 gallons of bulk water. I'm going to give you a brief update on some other city services. Trash collection. Trash collection resumed on Monday. Regular City of Asheville Wednesday trash customers will receive pickups today where locations are accessible. Bag trash that doesn't fit into a customer's green trash cart can be placed in blue recycling carts. Curbside management, located at 116 Woodfin Avenue, is accepting residential recycling drop-off at their plant, starting today and going until October the 11th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It is critical, though, that storm debris not be put into recycling and trash carts at this time. These materials will be collected separately by a contractor in the near future. But some good news. Regular household trash and recycling pickup schedules are expected to begin on Monday, October the 14th. Also, if you are able, we encourage you to download the AVL Collects app to your phone to receive notifications about trash, recycling, and debris pickup in your area. Bus service. Limited ART bus service relaunched on Monday with rides available starting at 8 a.m. daily. Currently, the last outbound trip ends at 5 p.m. until further notice. Again, riders can board the bus from any point along routes by flagging a bus down. Please only do this for a bus traveling on the side of the street that you are on. Safety must continue to be our top priority. Information about transit service availability can be found through service alerts or by calling transit customer service, which is available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day this week at 828-253-5691. Cellular sites. We understand cellular service and internet connectivity remain a challenge for many, including our staff involved in the recovery effort. There are mobile sites located at the YMCA at 30 Woodfin Street, Girls United Methodist Church at 954 Tunnel Road, Asheville Middle School at 211 South French Broad Avenue, and Dr. Wesley Grant Senior Southside Community Center at 285 Livingston Street. These sites offer limited cellular reception within several city blocks from where the trailers are parked. The sites at the Asheville Middle and Dr. Wesley Grant Senior Southside Community Center also have places to charge phones. AVL alerts. We encourage everyone to sign up for AVL alerts. A link to subscribe to these alerts can be found on the front page of the city's website at www.asheville.nc.gov. Text message alerts continue to be one of our most reliable ways to get direct messages to our community, and they are being sent in English and Spanish. For those receiving messages, please note messages in English are being followed by messages in Spanish. The messages are the same information. The banner notifications on your phone show the latest message. If you see a message in Spanish, please open the text on your phone and you will see the English message preceding it. We are continuing to work on the best way to reach all of our community. Lastly, I want to say a big thank you to all of our City of Asheville employees assisting in this recovery effort. I listed a number of departments on the days that I've given updates, but I also want to give a big thank you to our city clerk and to her staff for also helping to maintain our daily operations. We're all in this together, y'all, and it will take our collective efforts to support each other as we recover as a community. I'd now like to turn it over, I believe you said to Chief Lamb is the order you want us to go in, and then Ben Woody will follow him. Thank you all.
Hi, my name is Mike Lamb, and I'm the Chief of Police for the Asheville Police Department. I'm here to give you an update on changes to our curfew. In order to lessen the economic impact on our small businesses and our independent restaurants, we are changing our curfew hours. In consultation with the Asheville Independent Restaurant Association, we looked at the hours that are best for restaurants in order to lessen that impact. So we are changing our hours from 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So starting tomorrow, Thursday, October the 10th, we are changing the hours again to 11 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. So those will be the new curfew hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Lamb. Ben Woody, Assistant City Manager, and I'm going to provide an update today on the status of our water system. We've got some still photos and drone footage that we're going to show. Before I get started, I want to take a quick point of privilege, and I do want to thank three people because the information that I present to you every other day is really the work of three people in the city, and I do want to thank them. Clay Chandler, our Water Public Information Officer, Dan Ferris, our Video Production Manager, and Mark Letterman, our Water Project Manager and Drone Operator. Couldn't do this without the efforts of those three people each day. So we're going to start with North Fork and the bypass line. What you can hopefully see on the screen is an image that we showed on September 30th. This is where we began. September 30th, we were able to access this area, and most of you remember this as the Four Marks area. I've heard this is where we showed for scale our drone operator, and again, he's up in the upper right-hand corner of the slide. So we're going to do video. Okay. So I'm going to start a video. This is actually October 8th. So this is the condition of that yesterday, and I'll try to orient everybody to what you're seeing. But this is us working toward that pipe that I just showed, and it's going to freeze in 1 second. So we're showing video of a work site, and large equipment and grading that's occurring to rebuild this 36-inch bypass line. And as the video zooms in, it is going to pause. And so what I'm showing you is this, we've highlighted the area. This is where that 36-inch line was that I showed you on September 30th. So this is where we are trying to get. We are moving from the plant to the distribution system. The reason the line's in a different location is a good example of why it's hard to estimate completion dates. As we were doing this, we put a camera in that original line and found that it was clogged by boulders. So we actually had to remove another section of pipe that goes to the distribution center. So what that did is it makes us have to go a little bit longer or further to get that connection made. So again, that's just the kind of unpredictability of construction. We're going to post these videos and let people see those. I'm not going to sit on the videos for the entire time. So our next video, or actually, excuse me, our next photo, again, just another example of what is happening. Yes, this is a video. So what I want to point out here is we are showing a crew that is in the trench, and they are installing and connecting these water mains. These are large pieces of pipe. And we do a lot of it with equipment, but I think it's important to show that we also have to do these things by hand. So you literally, if you can't see, you see a large water main and you see contractors that are in the ground removing soil with shovels. So that is backbreaking work. That is what this looks like to repair this bypass line that is so critical as one of our steps to move forward. This next slide is just, this is an elbow. So there's good news on this slide. This is yesterday. You can see where an elbow, so that's a turn in the pipe, is being lowered into the work area. You can also see a pipe in the lower portion of this picture. This is the last connection we're trying to make. So we have gotten very close to getting the bypass line connected from the treatment plant to the distribution system. I'm going to talk about what that means. That does not mean there is water service, to be clear, but that is an important connection. And on this photo, you can see that we're really getting close. Perhaps had we not have had to remove that piece of pipe that was clogged with boulders, we may have had that connection made already, but that's just the contingencies that we have to be prepared for in construction. So I'm going to show another photo, and what this does is shows really the overall scope of the repair area. And I think this is an important photo because you see there's a lot of earth that's been moved around. And the reason we have to do that, and this is a really, so the red line, I'm showing a red line, that was the original location of the creek. So before Hurricane Helene, and it's still there, the bed is, but that was the original location. But as you can see, the entire waterway has shifted. So the repairs that we've had to make on this bypass line have had to happen in this new waterway. And so what the crews have had to do is they've had to construct basically dams and move the waterway in order to perform repairs to the pipe. So each time we repair a pipe, we have to move the waterway, make the repairs, move to the next section, divert the waterway again. So it really happens literally in 20-foot sections. A lot of work. And I want to give a little bit of context to this, just so I think so people can understand the gravity of this situation. The original design and engineering and construction of the 36-inch bypass line. So when we put it in the first time as redundancy, that took 3 years. That was a 3-year project for all that to happen. The repairs today, the emergency repairs you see, they're not their scale is not the same, but it's still substantial. And I asked our county engineer and our project manager what that would look like under normal conditions. So if we were to do this work in the way that we wanted to, it's probably a 2-year project, including design and engineering, and it's probably a 9 to 12-month construction project. So again, it's just remarkable that this work has been completed by our contractors, T&K Utilities in Tanoka, in this short of a time period. We started September 30th. This photo is from October 8th. But I do want to note, while that is moving at light speed, we are making sure we have our inspectors and engineers on site that this work is meeting our safety and quality standards. So as fast as it's moving, I want to assure the public this is being done the way it needs to be done in a safe manner. So we're very close. I hope that when I'm back on Friday, I can tell you that this bypass line is completed. So we have video, and I'm not going to show this whole video, but it will be available online. I talked about making repairs to the distribution transmission lines as well. We are focusing on key east-west connectors. The video that you see is now at Swananoa River Road near Azalea Park. And again, folks that can see, you can see the road is effectively washed out into the river, which includes our water lines. I mentioned early on that we started our distribution work at Highway 70 near Whitson Avenue. That's the video I showed last week. That work is complete, so that's great news. And again, as I mentioned, we continue to move west to make repairs to our transmission lines, and that's because the water will move in that direction. So this is showing the crews that are staged at Swananoa River Road near Azalea Park. I'm going to move to the next video. I know the dates show 3 days, but I want to point out it takes a day to mobilize and prepare and get materials in place. But the video you see now is the work that's been done really in 2 days' time. So again, you can see the progress that they make on these major repairs. Want to point out that this work is Tanoka and TP Howard, and we also have our partners from NCDOT. They are coming from the opposite direction to meet us. So again, everybody's mobilized. We're focused on the major transmission lines first. What's going to happen? So everybody, next steps are going to be as we get these transmission lines in place and repaired, that's necessary for the restoration process. And once we were able to get water into the system, which I'll talk about that in a second, we've still got some time to go on that. Kind of the next phase of this is, and we're already doing this, but as we begin to pressurize the system, what we're going to learn is we're going to find more breaks and more areas that repairs are needed. So this is very large equipment that are making very large repairs. As it moves forward, the scale of those repairs become less. And that's when our City of Asheville water crews who are already working, they're going to have so much work to do in the coming weeks. We know that. We've already lined up utility crews from other municipalities to come help us with that. So again, we have the resources sequenced and ready to go as we're able to begin restoring the water system. So that's my last video for the day. Again, we'll post those so everybody can see the work. So I want to start talking about North Fork Reservoir and Treatment Plant. When the storm came, it essentially flipped the reservoir. And so what I mean by that is all the sediment that was on the bottom was flipped to the top. So all this sediment, pieces of clay, particles are now suspended in the water column. A couple of things we're doing about that is we have engineers from CDM Smith Engineering and the EPA, and we're trying to develop the best treatment options for that really murky water. We have on site now what's called a pilot plant. So we have a treatment plant that is a miniature representation of the North Fork Water Treatment Plant. So what that allows us to do is to begin testing treatment scenarios, and that plant mirrors our big plant. So we have almost like a science lab where we can start to test ways that we can treat the water and get it into the filter system. So that is out there. They're our scientists and our partners are doing that right now, trying to figure that out. The other thing that we're doing, because again, right now the water is not treatable in the North Fork Reservoir. The other thing that we're doing, again, this is CDM Smith Engineering and the EPA, is we're trying to develop and implement a in-reservoir treatment system. So what that means is, back up, that is not something that's unprecedented. So reservoirs that have turbidity happens, and there are treatment options that we can consider that have been done before. So this is kind of a normal course of trying to restore water or trying to treat water. But what it basically does is we have millions and millions of suspended clay particles in the water. They're just floating. They're actually charged. So these pieces of dirt, if you were to take two magnets and put them opposite to one another and they won't come together, that's what's happening. So these particles are suspended in the reservoir and they're bouncing off one another. They're not settling. So what we're able to do, we hope, is add a treatment that creates what's called coagulation. And I'll tell you what that is. What coagulation does, it removes the charge from those suspended particles and it allows them to begin to stick together. As these particles stick together, they get bigger and they get heavier and they begin to settle. So again, we are trying to find ways to increase or expedite the settling process in the reservoir We were also trying to find ways to make sure we can treat the water. And just to be clear on the treatment, the filter system, if we were to put water in the filter system, North Fork Treatment Plant, that had too much sediment in it, it would damage our filters beyond repair and would add months to the restoration process. So before we put water in that treatment plant, we have to make sure our plant can treat it. And again, last thing I want to remind everybody, we're making lots of progress, but even when the water is able to leave the North Fork treatment plant, the process of refilling thousands of miles of pipe is going to take time. We have crews ready to do that, but we have to fill pipe, we have to fill storage tanks, we have to repair leaks, we have to remove airlocks from the system. There's a lot of work to do, but we're making good progress. And that concludes my comments today. Thank you.
We're gonna have a quick update from Mary Ann Tierney with FEMA, but I do want to share, I've seen some comments on social media that the location at AB Tech is difficult to find. It is between the conference center and the parking deck if you're looking for that FEMA setup at AB Tech. And one more minute and here comes Mary Ann.
Good morning. Marian Tierney. I'm the National Incident Management Assistance Team Lead assigned to Buncombe County. I have a few brief updates. The first thing that I want to update on is the amount of assistance that FEMA has provided in North Carolina. We have approved over 50,000 applications for over $60 million. In Buncombe County, we have approved about 24,500 applications for a total of $27 million. This is a $12 million increase from the report that I provided yesterday. So we're making good progress on providing assistance to individuals. I also want to announce that at the direction of the FEMA administrator, we have established a disaster recovery center at the AC Reynolds High School that's located at 1 Rocket Drive. The soft opening for that center is at 1 p.m. today, and the center will be open every day, including Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. At that site, you can register for FEMA assistance in person. You can also talk to the Small Business Administration and receive certain services from the state. I want to reiterate that the first step to the recovery process is one, speaking with your insurance agent, and secondly, registering for FEMA assistance. You can register for FEMA assistance by calling 800-621-FEMA or going to disasterassistance.gov or downloading the FEMA app and applying online. But obviously we know, given the power and communication challenges throughout Western North Carolina, and in particular in Buncombe County, that is not enough. This is why we have established this disaster recovery center. We also have our disaster survivor assistance teams throughout the county. Given the time, I won't list all of the locations they will be, but we're certainly happy to provide that offline. We will not be at the AB Tech Center today. So I just wanted to correct that in case, because Lillian announced it earlier. In addition, we are providing commodities through our partners with the Army. The 101st Airborne is out in Swannanoa, as well as in Woodfin today, providing food and water door to door. So be on the lookout for them if they're in your neighborhood. And the last thing I wanted to mention is just to continue to talk about mental health. If you're experiencing emotional distress as a result of this disaster, FEMA has activated the crisis counseling program, and the disaster distress hotline is available 24/7. You can dial 800-985-5990 to receive counseling services, referrals, and information on how to recognize the signs of emotional distress. Thank you.
Our final guest here today is going to be Jamie Brads with USAR Urban Search and Rescue Operations. It's his name for any journalist, Jamey Brads, Brads. His regular post is with the Virginia Department of Fire Programs and Virginia Task Force 2. Thank you, Jamie.
My colleague and I from Virginia, he is from the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, Brian Saunders. We have been in theater for about 8 days now. We were here to support rescue operations and to collaborate with the state teams and the federal resources that were here doing the urban search and rescue operations throughout the area. We also were tied directly to collaborate with the federal incident support team that was managing all of the USAR assets from the federal side that were in the theater as well. First, I would like to say to all the first responders, law enforcement, fire, EMS, everyone that has worked this incident until the additional support started coming in. Kudos. This is an enormous event. It's been a Herculean effort, and my hat's off to you. And we're glad we can be here to support. So I want to give you a real quick explanation of how the National Response Framework works. It's a tiered response. Every emergency starts and ends locally. So the event started, although everybody was preparing for potential impact, the event started locally and then expanded out regionally. We got state assistance, then ultimately federal USAR assets in here. And it was very quick to get that ramp up to get to that point. At the peak of that, we had over 1,500 in addition to local responders here operating with over 25 specially trained K-9 teams to assist with the search and rescue efforts throughout the operational area here. So I'm going to go over a couple of statistics just real quickly. These are statistics that we tracked since 27 September through 8 October, close of operational period yesterday. We track how far we go. It's called a track log. We have logged 9,108 miles of logs for search tracks in this in the operating area. We have assessed for damages over 13,400 structures. 10,000 of those have been unaffected. 636 were affected. 686 were minorly affected. 901 majorly affected, and 560 completely destroyed.